Let us create upvoting features. We're going to the data structure features, configuring the fields, and adding the new group upvoting. There will be two fields: the quantity of upvotes, type of number, positive number, and the links to the users who upvoted the feature. Type of array link to the structure app users. Alright? Since we are going to add a new page, let's create new API endpoint. For the data structure features, upvote under development. Their security layer includes the condition on user's ID. That is not a public API endpoint. Here we add some fields, including the fields of a linked object of user, first name, last name, and the usual fields: color, type, tags, development status, description, title. Okay. Of course, there should be a filter. Request status should be approved. Alright, and let's go and create the new page. Upvote features. Then root, icon, order, and the group. Alright, let us have a look. Yep, everything is correct. Alright, I want to see two tabs on the page. The first one is about plan features, and the second contains backlogged features. Cards on these tabs will be similar. The only difference will be the filter. The first one will contain features under the status approved, and backlog will contain all the features with the status new. And here the new thing, I am adding upvotes, the counter on the card. I've chosen the field, number of upvotes, but the field is blank, so I see nothing. No counter on the card. Let's have a look how quick search works. I'm typing the part of their name, and here's the result. Great, but I didn't need their quick search when their number of tasks is not significant. So I'm turning it off. Alright. And here's object card. Let's design it. First of all, hide the unnecessary fields and reorder the others. Inner ID, who upvoted, and I would love to see a couple of tabs on the card. The first one with the general information, and the second one with the information referring to upvotes. Alright, I'm dragging and dropping the fields from one group to another, from one tab to another. Okay. And I want to add an action, upvote. It would be a button with an icon, and it would be an action button. Alright, but an action needs API endpoint, so let's create it. We're going to API section, new API endpoint, but we need a structure as well, so let's create a new structure for upvotes, and then we will create an API endpoint for that structure. We're creating the folder. That would be more convenient to work with the folders. Upvotes structure, Alright. And there will be at least a couple of fields. The link to the feature and the link to the user who upvoted. The link to app users and the second feature ID, the link to features. Alright, coming back to endpoints. Create a new one for upvotes. Add in some description, of course. The security layer is correct. That is not public, that is for authorized users. And 2 fields should be available for writing and 1 ID for reading. We need at least 1 field available for reading. Okay, go into the web page, upload, action settings, and we're choosing our new endpoint, uploads. Configuring field mapping, feature ID should be ID from the object card, but I don't see it now. Probably I haven't added it to the API endpoint. Coming back to the endpoint, upvotes, and the ID should be available for reading. Right. Now it will work. Mapping ID, feature ID. The second row for mapping is user ID. We take the user's session ID and note that we don't need the standard condition for ID for edit an object. We are creating a new object each time. Alright, and I want to see the button on the second tab. Dragging and dropping it here. Alright. Checking. Okay. Nothing happened because we did not configure any business logic for processing such an event. Let's create it. We're creating a scenario for counting upvotes. Target structure would be upvotes. And no trigger, because I'm going to run this scenario synchronically. Yes, the first step is about adding the user to the list of users who uploaded. I am editing the field of a linked object of a feature, users who upvoted, and I'm consulting the documentation. How should I add an object to the array, having avoided duplication? Alright, dconcat, that is the special function. Type in dconcat. Don't forget to turn on JavaScript evaluation. Here we adding the field array to which we are going to add an element and an element to add, user ID. Alright, and let's check. Saving the step. Let's have a look at their data structure. That is the single object that we have created. We're copying the ID and pasting ID here in checking the expression feature. Alright, that is the result, the single element in the array. We could check in another way, check the whole step. That will change the object in the database. The previous checking did not do anything with data. Alright, that seems correct. Let's have a look at the second time. We tried to add the same object and that worked out correctly. Don't forget to comment scenarios to make them readable. The second step will count the number of upvotes, the number of elements in the array, users who upvoted. We are choosing the link to the feature, number of upvotes, and let's consult the dictionary one more time. How should we count the elements of the array? That way. Alright, we are turning on coding mode, JavaScript evaluation, choosing the array, working with that array as with a string value, using quotes, splitting with the commas, and calculating the length. Alright, and let's check the expression with the same object. 1. Alright. It seems correct. Publishing, running, and now we see that there is no trigger for start, but we can add that scenario as running in synchronic mode to the API endpoint. This way. Alright, let's check. Upvote. Alright, one upvote. Still one. So we have avoided duplication. And let's test. I'm logging out and logging in as a new user. As another user, there are two. Remember? Upvoting again, 2 upvotes. Correct. Moreover, I want to add a default sorting parameter. I would love to see the features with a greater amount of upvotes first. We're choosing the sorting parameter this way, alright? And I don't want to see released features in that particular list in planned features. I'm adding one more filter, the development status shouldn't be equal released. Alright? Correct. And I want to see the number of uploads at the very first page in the public roadmap. I should edit all the API endpoints that we used for public roadmap. I'm adding the number of upvotes for all the 3, and here on the page I'm adding the counter on the card, upvotes. I'm doing the same for all the components. Alright, that's great. And the last thing, we should add the cards to the backlog. We are adding API endpoint with the filter on request status new. Alright. Next, we are adding cards component. We are configuring the action, the same one as we have just configured, to automatic fields mapping. Here, upload the feature. Alright, that works. And that would be great to see the author of the feature request on the card in backlog. I'm adding the user ID and I'm picking the fields of the linked object, the first name and the last name. And I'm adding that data on the card, in the card text, user ID. Great, we've managed to create upvoting system.